Okay, so first of all, thank you so much for joining. I wanted to do an interview about your film. For me, it was quite like it made my heart sink because I have to admit, I'm practicing now to take the Life in the UK test. I'm Italian. I lived here for like over 5 years. I've been waiting, and when I saw the test, wow. What made you want to make a film about the Life in the UK test?
Okay, so I have to like because you said you're like nervous and all that. I just want to say like when I was doing my research, like every place is different. So I've heard good things about, like for example, people who took their test in Liverpool or say the test center people, they are really nice, they're really like cheering them on. So it's not like I feel like everyone will have different experience, but basically, if you ask me what inspired me, was that, when I was practicing my Life in the UK test, um, I did like when I was practicing it, I was like, okay, those questions are quite interesting. They're not very, about daily life, not quite. A lot about history and stuff. So that's kind of like propped my interest as well. And then when I took my test at a test center, I didn't really have the best experience. Yeah, it just feels like at that time, it feels like there's some power play going on in a way. And after the test, I did, talk to some of my friends, and they have similar experience. And then if you search online, there are a lot of like different, comments about things as well. And I kind of just forgot about it. And then one day morning, somehow I was just like, maybe I should write it into a short film. And then that happens. Yeah, that happened.
And I mean, the film looks incredible, and it has these tones of like it's harrowing, but it's also quite funny because it really conveys how, like as you mentioned, this bureaucratic process sometimes doesn't make any sense. For example, in my practice test, even there was a question about select two social media, and the other one was like super hard and about the history and what treaty was passed when. Do you see irony as a way to cope with this system that is often hostile and sometimes a little bit depressing for immigrants to the UK?
Yeah, because it's like the famous saying, if you don't laugh, you cry. Is that the right word to say it? I think. Yeah, if you don't laugh with it, you cry. Yeah, and I feel like especially like moving like, to the UK for so many years now, it's the eighth year for me, I think. And you do kind of absorb the funny, the irony and like humor part. Like what is that? Sorry, I think I lost my trace of thought. What I want to say is, you're like being here for such a long time now, you kind of learn that humor from British people. And yeah, I can tell that I have learned that and try to incorporate it in my script and my film. Yeah,
So
not
it's
trying
like
to incorporate. I think it kind of come naturally.
yeah, that's the real
Yeah.
life in the UK test.
Yeah.
Get used to respond with humor when they ask you, "That's a lovely accent. Where are you from?" or "Where are you really from?"
Yeah. Or like, are
And
you Chinese? I'm like, "Eh."
oh boy, yes.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about the film cinematography. The test sometimes feels very disorienting and uncomfortable in a way that's almost physical in the way the films look. I wanted to ask you, how did you achieve to make viewers feel like this?
So it is actually very intentional. The Because the whole sort of experience and the environment is very sort of like sterile and, like you said, quite depressing. So like I had a very good chat with our cinematographer Sunshine beforehand in terms of how we frame it and how we kind of make the test attendees feel small because that's how they feel. um So yeah, we had a lot of like discussions how to achieve that. And yeah, so I think like our intention kind of come through quite well.
It really does.
Yeah, thank you.
And I wanted to ask you about the BFI funding. I know that filmmakers who want to make short films, there's so much competition for this particular program. I wanted to ask you how difficult it was to get this funding, how important, what difference did it make to really make this film the way you wanted to?
Oh, I mean, like, to be honest, without funding, I don't know whether I can make this film. Although, like, obviously, it will then have to be self-funded. But, you know, in my head, you, although it's like a passion project still, you still want everyone to be paid somehow. So yeah, it is very important to get the funding. And I know it is very difficult to get BFI funding, like, it's kind of like common knowledge, but I feel quite supported and somehow don't know where the confidence come from. Um, Quite confident. Even at the writing the script stage. But I think the main confidence do come from after I found my producer, Mena, when she just agreed to jump on board, and she just took care of a lot, all the like the production stuff, and then we worked very well together. And I just feel like like someone else have faith in this work, and that makes you feel like better. Feels like, oh, it's worth doing, and then it can be done. It's no longer just like some words on paper or a dream or something like that. Yeah. Does it answer your question?
Yes, it does. And I know that producers are sometimes rare to find and they're like really important. And maybe this was a question for your producer, but I was really interested in the location. It just looks so real. How did you find the place where the test take place?
Mena should really answer this question. It was a long and difficult journey. I mean, to be honest, yeah. So we ended up shooting in, the test center bit, shooting in a school. Yeah. But to be honest, school has always been like our goal because we can't really go into like a test center really. And the school does have that kind of facility and look of it. But we went through a lot of different schools, and then like, sometimes it's too expensive, sometimes, we have an agreement and then it fell through. And we did go through went through quite a lot of like locations, and it was quite lucky because this final location, they end up to be so accommodating and like fit into the budget, and the look and feel is also the best one. So well, I guess if you have faith, when there's a will, there's a way, I suppose.
It really worked. I believed it. I also believe that the main actor, the guy who does the checks, if I met him on the streets, I would think he's the guy who works there. And I'll probably be a little bit like, I don't like you. But it works really well. And
yeah, Ben Betty is he's amazing. Like he just he stepped on set and he is the character, he is the role. Yeah, so
I mean,
it's great.
It's also a credit to the writing when she's asked to take off her like hoodie. I thought about it, all the many times I made the same mistake of not having anything underneath, and it's like only things to learn. And I assume that you got your citizenship by now.
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
So yeah, so because, well, I don't know whether you need to cut this in because this is so trivial, but because you can take your life in the UK test like any time, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to like really hit 5 years. And I was like, oh, maybe I should take it sooner. So, because the price go up every year. So if I take it sooner, so maybe, like it will be cheaper when I took it. So that was the thought. So I did take it, I think maybe a year earlier than when I applied to my permanent residency. So I actually only got my permanent residency last year, and I only just sent out my citizenship application. So I haven't got it yet, but fingers crossed.
Yeah,
Like,
fingers crossed for real, because
I know.
I'm still waiting, and without wanting to turn this into a political conversation, there's like no denying that immigration has become like kind of at the heart of the political agenda, no matter what party talks about it. And there's something about your film that reminded me about Keir Starmer, Island of Strangers speech. Having made this film, do you think that the situation is getting worse for immigrants in the UK? And even people now who might have to wait 10 years instead of already 5, plus all the requirements that you have to do.
Yeah, I just feel like, yeah, I know that, this the stranger island of stranger talk is just kind of heartbreaking because although like when the it's all like in the conversation, like I feel like although it actually it doesn't really affect me anymore in a way, I just still feel so sad because it's like kind of like it's the message that it's sending out, that it's telling people that, like, are we really welcome here? You know, yeah. So yeah, it is really sad. And to be honest, like when they say like, oh, changing it to 10 years, oh, I know a lot of people are saying like, oh, like in so and so European country, they also do 10 years and something like that. But I don't really know whether if I knew it was going to be 10 years, whether I would choose to stay. That's and that does affect how I feel about the whole thing.
I
Yeah.
feel exactly the same. And my final question is, are you working on any new project? And is there anything that you can tell us about it, if you are?
Yeah, I mean, yes, I'm always working on something.
Of
Yeah,
course.
I don't know, kind of a workaholic, but also don't want to work. Yeah. But yeah, so I wrote two new short films this year, earlier in this year, and throughout the year trying to get fundings, and it's always been difficult. But I'm also working on, so I have a treatment for my first feature film,
Wow.
and so I'm like working on my first feature, although I'm also working full time.
Oh boy.
So
Wow.
it's like a lot going on. Yeah. And for the feature film that I'm trying to make, and it will be hopefully a co-production between the UK, a UK production and then a Taiwanese production, because it's kind of like trying to tell a story of an immigrant, which is, like based on my experience as well. Uh, like in between two different cultures and how it play out. Yeah, kind of like that.
That's exciting. I'm looking forward to see your next work for sure. And I can't believe you do this on top of a full-time job. You're a workaholic. I could never. I'm drained after a day of work. And like, no. Well, amazing. Like, thank you so much. We're so excited to show your film, and I'm excited to see it again on a bigger screen. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Thank you.
Well, have a nice evening.
Bye.
Bye.